And welcome everyone to our breakdown of the AP Top 25 and the Power 36 here at March Madness and NCAA.com. I'm Andy Katz. It is December 2nd. Last time I checked the calendar. All right, look, major changes up and down the two polls. And actually, as I'm saying this, we need to make sure that we have the correct one over there. So we will put that out. And there we go. The magic of changing everything. And there, now you've got it. Okay, so here's the new AP poll on my left, your right. Power 36, the new one. On my right, your left. As you see in the AP poll, Louisville number 1, Kansas 2, Maryland 3, Michigan 4. On the right side with the Power 36, Michigan 1, Kansas 2, Virginia 3, Maryland 4, Louisville 5, Gonzaga 6. So here's the rationale. And I know the Michigan fans and plenty of people are like, oh, you forgot about Michigan. How could you not rank Michigan? Okay, here's why. And I wasn't alone here, people. Okay, Michigan didn't even know how good Michigan was when we were at the Big Ten Media Day. New staff outside of Saturday, Washington. Yes, anchors, John Teskey, Xavier Simpson, Isaiah Livers. Remember, Franz Wagner was hurt, one of their key newcomers, at the beginning of the season. Home schedule, which is fine. In the Gavitt games, they got Creighton. Okay? Creighton, which, yes, just beat Texas Tech, but more than likely is going to be in that bottom third of the Big East. So we didn't know. Okay? And it's okay not to know. We can admit we didn't know. And they exceeded expectations. They looked great down in Atlantis. Iowa State, North Carolina, Gonzaga. Great wins. Those are 3 NCAA tournament teams for Michigan. So that's why I have no problem going from nowhere to first. Okay, this is results driven. Louisville, I dropped back. Now in AP, they shot them up to 1. I'm high on Louisville. I picked Louisville to win the ACC. Okay, the ACC didn't pick Louisville to win. I did. I wasn't alone there either. But Louisville has not played the schedule that some of the other teams have played yet. And hey, you know what? We're going to find out later this week. Michigan, Louisville. Now it's a 1 versus 4 in AP. In my version, it's a 1 versus 5. So it's all going to play itself out. Kansas, both have them 2, won the Maui Invitational. Virginia, I mean, they gave up 26 points. I don't care if it's Maine, 26 points. Ridiculous. So that's why I have them a little higher than Maryland. Maryland, I thought a great win down in Orlando. Gonzaga dropped to 9 in the AP. I have them at 6, in large part because they only had one bad half this entire season. I'm high on Auburn. I saw them in person in Brooklyn. They're a top 10 team the way I saw them, 12 in the AP. Oregon, you definitely could argue this point, 13 AP, I have them 15. I think they were the best 1 and 2 team of any tournament team. They knocked off Seton Hall. They could have won the other 2. Dayton gets a top 10 vote from me, 19 from AP. They get to the Maui Invitational final. They look great. Obi Toppin could be the National Player of the Year. On the right side of our bracket here, further of our poll, further down. So AP went Kentucky 8, Duke 10, Michigan State 11. Ultimately, those are 3 teams that could get in the Final Four that should be higher up. But I think there's got to be a penalty when you drop a home game, okay, in the cases of Kentucky to Evansville, who has not played well overall since then. Cases of Duke to Stephen F. Austin, who ultimately may win the Southland, but you know they haven't played anyone like Duke yet, outside of Duke. And then they lose that game at home. And Michigan State loses to a Virginia Tech team that's probably going to finish in the lower grouping of the ACC, which then after beating Michigan State, lost the next 2 games in Maui. So there's got to be a penalty for that in the rankings. That's why I dropped them down. Do I think ultimately, they are 17 and 19 in terms of the best teams in the country? No. These are snapshots in time. How are they playing at this moment? in the last week, if you will. And that's why San Diego State, which won the tournament in Las Vegas, I put them in the top 30. DePaul, now 8-0, has won multiple road games in the top 30. West Virginia, okay? Where is West Virginia in the AP poll? Where are they? They're undefeated. They just beat a very good Wichita State team down in Cancun. Utah State, as good as I think Utah State is, they lost to St. Mary's. Why is St. Mary's, yes, I know they lost to Winthrop at home in the game 2, but they just beat Utah State. Look at it this week. St. Mary's should be ranked higher than Utah State. I dropped Villanova in large part because of who they haven't beaten. They look good, but they haven't picked up those kind of quality wins. Temple. Okay, I got the Temple at 25. Temple really could have beaten Maryland in that first game in Orlando and played very well down there. So that's a lot of my justification. So let's go to some questions. Johnny Quinn. See, you were thinking like me. Where's West Virginia? Where is West Virginia? Okay. Yes, I know it's next to Pennsylvania. It's next to Maryland. But they should be in the top 25. I have them at 20. Gary thinks I'm crazy for having Duke at 18, yet they lost to Stephen F. Austin. Sorry. Donnie, West Virginia gets zero respect. In the AP poll, not in this one. Preseason, I agree. Although if you remember, if you've been following this, I said they were a team I was going to be wrong on. And I was, and I'm fine with that. Ian says Florida beat Marshall. Okay, so I have them at 22. That's true. Arizona from Philip. So I have Arizona 12, same as AP. So we think alike there. Anthony Brown, where's DePaul? You're right. Where are they in the AP poll? In the Power 36, they're at 28. Okay. So Clint says, how can Michigan basically go from unranked to number 1? Because they've got great wins now. That's how. Okay, that's the beauty of this. Better than college football. College football, you can't climb this high because you can't pick up that many quality wins in a short amount of period. Okay, Michigan beat Iowa State, North Carolina, Gonzaga in consecutive days. That's 2 top 10 teams back to back on a neutral court. You can't argue with that. Sorry. Let's see. Sheldon says, keep an eye on Maryland. I think we're all keeping an eye on Maryland. They're a top 5 team right now. Donnie says, I like the Power 36 poll. I think I see a West Virginia hat. I think. So, thank you. All right. Let's see where else we got here. People are mad that I dropped Duke. Sorry. Lost a home game to a team from a 1-bid league. Same with Kentucky. So look, if Duke goes and beats Michigan State, here's the other problem with Duke. As much as I liked Duke in their win over Georgetown, Georgetown then follows that up and loses to UNC Greensboro at home, which lessens that win over Georgetown on neutral court. So that's the problem. Now Duke has the great opening night win over Kansas. Cannot take that away. Great. Casey says, I'm crazy for putting Duke and Kentucky down that low. I just keep beating this, okay? This is not a seed chart, all right? This is based on results in the short term. Rankings change from week to week to week. We're not projecting, now we will in the bracket here, but we're not projecting whether or not these teams are at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 seed. Because you could make the argument right now with Louisville, for example. If the season ended right now today, would Louisville be a 1 based on who they've played? No, they wouldn't be because they haven't played that kind of elite competition yet. I mean, you would take Duke over Louisville if it was strictly on results because they beat Kansas and Louisville hasn't played someone like that. So That's why you have to draw the distinction between rankings and seedings and bracketing. Kyle says, does Colorado have a shot at Kansas on Saturday? Yes, they do. Tyler Bay playing very well. He combined him with McKinley Wright the fourth. Oklahoma State, Dan Spielvogel says, experienced and talented. Yeah, where's Oklahoma State, by the way, in the AP poll? Oh, I don't see them. Yet Oklahoma State's win over Ole Miss might have been the most impressive win of the year. 78-37. That's after Ole Miss had just knocked off Penn State. I mean, Virginia's victory over Maine, giving up 26 points. The way they held Syracuse to 34, obviously very impressive. But the timing of Oklahoma State's win over Ole Miss, right after Ole Miss had beaten Penn State, hard to argue about how impressive that was for Oklahoma State. So Jordan said something nasty. So look, rankings, okay, this is like, I don't care what sport it is. Anytime people do power rankings, they're based on that time period, okay? You may think, for example, I'll give you the Big East right now. You may think that Providence should be much better than their record right now. And they should be. When I saw Providence, they were 3-1 in games that I did. Actually, they were 4-1. I didn't do the first game. And yet, since then, they've lost to Penn at home, Charleston, and Long Beach State out in California. And they lost, obviously, at Northwestern. So I can't project what Providence should be. I'm basing it on who they are right now. And, Texas Tech's a great example. Okay, Texas Tech is not in the AP poll anymore. They're not in my rankings anymore. Why? Because they didn't play anyone in their non-conference up until their tournament in Las Vegas. What happens? They lost 2 games to Iowa and Creighton, 2 teams that are going to really struggle to make the NCAA tournament. So why would I rank Texas Tech at this moment? Do I think Texas Tech will ultimately be a tournament team? Yes. Do they have opportunities? They played DePaul, which suddenly is a big game. They got Louisville coming up in the Garden in 2 weeks. So they've got opportunities, let alone Kentucky and the Big 12. But at this moment, Texas Tech is not a tournament team based on its resume right now. So that's why. So Kyle, I agree with you 100%, Kyle Collins. You say you understand the way I'm doing it, but you think at the end of the season we'll see Duke, Michigan State, and Kentucky near the top. And so do I. Think about last season when the first net rankings came out. And I think Ohio State was 1 and Loyola Marymount was number 10. That was based on right at the beginning. I think Ohio State had just knocked off Cincinnati to open the season on the road. And I can't remember who LMU had beaten. So that's, things change, they evolve. All right, so people obviously don't, agree with me. So Casey, you're asked why I have Michigan State at even 17 because they lost twice. Well, their win over Seton Hall carries a lot of weight in my mind. That's a quad 1 win as we stand right now on a true road court. Miles Powell 37 in that game. That was as good a true road win that we've seen this season. So that's why. You're right. You take that game out, and Michigan State hasn't done enough. But that's a huge coup for them. Nate, thanks. Thoughts on the Volunteers? Great win against VCU and quality loss against Florida State. Florida State's much better, and we're going to learn our lesson. Every year this happens with Leonard's group. So, Tennessee's playing really well. Andy wants to know, where do I think the Big East will end up? I think ultimately they will have 6 teams. The Big East will certainly have 6 teams. Aaron wants to know my prediction on Louisville, Michigan. Podcast on Tuesday. and we'll post it on social media. All my predictions on Tuesday. You'll get them. I can't reveal them here. Gotta give a little tease. Make sure you connect on something else. So anyway, appreciate all the questions. Appreciate the engagement. And I love the debate. Let's go back and forth every week. Keep it going. We've got, the podcast, March Madness 365, interview with Bob Huggins, Nathan Bain from Stephen F. Austin, Chad Aycock and I do the predictions, Jimmy Dykes breaking down the battle for Atlantis, plenty of good content. And on Tuesday, the first in-season NCAA tournament bracket, a little bit different than the rankings, not tremendously, but a little bit different as we look at the overall body of work. All right. Thanks, everyone. Check this all out at March Madness and NCAA.com. I'm Andy Katz. Thanks for watching, reading, digesting, debating, all of it.